Welcome to Beyond the Build, the podcast where we talk with agency leaders about the work behind the work, how teams evolve, how leaders navigate change, and what it really takes to build something sustainable in client services. I'm Shawn Johnston. My guest today is Adam Bennett, founder and creative director at Cube Creative Design. Adam's been in the game for 21 years, runs a tight team, focuses on a couple of clear verticals, and has gone all in on AI as a leverage layer across the business, from sales through to delivery. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Shawn.
To get us started, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are, who Cube is? Just tell us a little bit about your journey so far.
Yeah, absolutely. So Cube Creative Design is based out of Asheville, North Carolina, home of the Biltmore House and the Grove Park Inn. And I grew up here and went to Appalachian State University, and 21 years ago, decided to go into print design and learned all about print design and running a printing press. And now it's kind of evolved into a web design content marketing house. So it's gone through a lot of transitions, but that's where we're at today.
That's awesome. So you've got two very distinct verticals. You've got private schools, K-12, and then pest control. Like, how did those lanes emerge, and what did they give you that generalist work doesn't?
Yeah, that's a great question. So those two verticals don't talk to each other at all. So
Nope.
private K-12 education and pest control. Both of those are just two verticals that have over a few years have just kind of grown up for us. And so we've gotten really great at private education and really great at pest control. And so our team handles both of them, and we just know a lot about both of those. It's funny how verticals can kind of just land in your lap sometimes, and you run with it and you say, hey, this is a really great vertical that you can be really successful in for the client and for your agency. So it just kind of happens.
Just kind of happens?
Yeah.
How long have you been focused on these two verticals, would you say?
So private K-12 education was probably our first vertical 20 years ago. So I went to a private school in Asheville growing up, and as a private Lutheran school, and they really needed some good marketing. And so that's kind of how it just kind of evolved.
Yep. Just started out of some early hustle.
Yeah.
How did pest control emerge?
Yeah. So we got a pest control client many years ago, and we were doing great for him. And he said, you know what, you need to come to our conferences here in North Carolina. It's called the PCT School. And so we sponsored it, got a booth, I got a few more clients, and now it's really taken off. My business partner, Chad, has spoken at the PCT School, and it's really resonated with that group. So it's gone really well.
Really interesting. Yeah, we have a couple of verticals at the agency side of what we do as well that have just emerged. So we do a lot of tourism, specifically destination management organizations, DMOs, which we really love doing. But we've got a brand partner that we just sort of regularly team up with, and this is how it happens. Sometimes you kind of build up a reputation, and then suddenly everybody wants a piece of what we're doing. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's fun. And then like it's like the last couple of years, you can really kind of lean into that specialization of understanding as like that particular market, its particular pain points, what the audience needs. They're always a little different. So when you kind of get all the way in on a vertical, you've got some insights others don't.
Absolutely. And, we're a HubSpot Gold partner. And years ago, I believe this was in 2016, we started with HubSpot when they had a really good partner program going that would actually train you. And we had a channel account manager who would actually work with us. And they always said the riches are in the niches. And that's from Dan Tyre. He ran the Lion program there. And so we went through that program with him, and it's right. It's the riches are in the niches. You got to niche down. You can't be everything for everyone. Become specialized, create your processes, and just continue that through each client.
Nice. Yeah, I think it's good advice. Okay, so when you describe your team setup in plain language, like who does what does cohesive look like in practice for you?
Yeah, for sure. So, an agency like us, we are just under $1 million. And so a small agency like that typically has one team. Bigger companies you might see have multiple teams. So we've got one great team. We've got 7 people on our team. So we have a web developer, salesperson, content writer, project manager, a graphic designer. So all the pieces of that team are there, and we do all the projects together.
Yeah. What's your job in the whole mix?
Yeah. So that keeps changing, right? So as an agency owner, especially as you're growing, I want to try to take myself out of that mix, right?
Yeah.
The owner shouldn't be doing the day-to-day tasks if you want to build your company. So that's what I've been trying to do over the past 21 years, Shawn. But it's really hard to get out of that, right?
I've spent the last year slowly extricating myself out of the day-to-day agency to focus on the product, on business development, creating relationships, sort of my own consulting as well. Um, and that, yeah, it was not an easy process. But it helps when you've got a really strong team. Like our director of strategy took over as managing director, but I teamed her up with an EOS coach who actually decided to implement EOS at the same time. And it was a really good decision on my part. So now the team has a framework that they can work together on instead of it all being on me.
Yeah, that's really good to hear.
It's
When you
possible.
can just go
Yeah,
away for a few days and know that things are going to be fine.
that's right. So when the team's having a great month, what's happening inside of the work? Like lots of energy, clarity, trust? Like what's the pace like?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a good tech stack. So our main communication tool internally is Slack, and we've just found that really works really well where we can separate it by projects and just seeing the communication either through general channels or client specific channels. Like we keep things moving on with each client. We've got a really good rapport with each other. We can joke with each other and
Yeah,
just keep it light during the day. We're all remote. So that makes that easy as well.
yeah,
We work on our own time. We use a lot of flex time. So
yep.
we're not typically 9 to 5. Some people like working late at night. And so that works really well with Slack. So we just keep it light and we try to have a good time, but do a really great job.
Yeah, we went remote in 2019. I always say signing a 5-year lease was the worst mistake I've ever made in business, just pouring money into the ground. But yeah, I remember near the end of that lease looking around at 14 people all typing at each other. And I thought, why are we here? So I know, and lots of people believe in workplace collaboration and that's fine. It's like our work is historically quite production oriented. And so we wanted to prioritize like the flexibility. So yeah, we use Slack as well. And we have a high degree of neurodiverse people on the team. I'm actually autistic ADHD. And so allowing people to work when their energy is most optimized for that work was a big shift for us as well. It's been a while now, but having some rules around where overlap has to happen because we've got to be able to collaborate, but giving people that freedom and agency to say, I do these tasks best at these times has been a velocity creator for us anyways. How do you guys handle that kind of flexibility?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been remote since day one. So it's kind of built
All
in.
20 years?
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
so
Well ahead of the curve.
when COVID hit, we were all like, okay, well,
Yeah,
nothing's really going to change. Cool.
that's
Okay,
right.
that
Yeah.
sounds great.
Yeah.
So no, work-life balance is really important
Uh-huh.
in what we do, and being able to give that parent an opportunity to go to their child's play or go do something that's needed during the day. Like
Uh-huh.
they don't have to ask, they don't have to schedule it, just go do it,
Go do
because
it. Yeah.
that's why we're here, right? We're here to
Yeah.
get money to live our lives. We're not here to work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I always say work to live, not live to work. That's
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
one of our mottos. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started this right out of college, right? And you've keep going through like huge shifts, like pivots of your own, big changes in the industry. What's kept you in it?
Yeah. So I am very passionate about marketing and about just the technology. And so I love everything about marketing and where it's going. So with print design, I was really interested in doing layouts, and I can't draw to save my life, but I can lay out and use,
Yeah.
photos and do all the layout. I was really heavy into journalism in high school and college, did all of that the whole time and just loved the layout,
Uh-huh.
managing it. And so I'm just really passionate about seeing things succeed, seeing things that you build or your team builds
Yeah.
succeed and helps other companies grow so that they can also support their families and support their life. It's just fun to see all that work really well.
Yeah. Yeah. I started my career in print as well. Yeah. So I was a production artist for the first chunk of my career. So I've been in this game now 30 years. So yeah. So I did the first decade in print and then I made the jump to web. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
they say print is dying, right? But it hasn't died yet.
no, it hasn't. It has its place. I always found print a little stressful. The ADHD doesn't make me great with details. And so like I was always very stressed about spelling mistakes and things like
Yeah,
that. What I love about the web is that you can always fix it.
right.
And so if you think back over the 21 years, like what's the season that forced you to mature as a leader?
So we have not grown as fast as I would like to. Over
Uh-huh.
21 years, I think that we should be a little bigger than we are. I'm very conservative with money, time, emotions, just conservative because I want to make sure that the people that we bring on are the right people
Yeah.
that want a career. I don't want
Mm.
just somebody who wants to work here for a year or two and then go to the next thing. I want people who want to succeed here, but also they want to make this their career and really dive into it. And so that slow growth has yeah, it's caused some issues as far as financially. Are we gonna be able to make payroll this month and
Yeah.
all of that? But
Yeah. I've
now
had
that
those
we're
months.
yeah, it's kind of stressful, right?
Yeah.
The hungrier you are, the more initiative you have to make change. Growing conservatively over time, now we're at a place where we're finally doing very well. The team is going very well. We're growing at a much larger rate now, and so it's just fun to see that progression.
Yeah. So, like, do you have like what's your big goal? Do you have an idea? Is it just again just slow, steady growth, and it's going to be what it's going to be, or do you have a place you want to get to?
Yeah, that is a great question. No, I'm here as the owner to make money for the people that are working for me and to make money for me, and so slow growth,
Yeah. I think
until
that's
you're
really
ready to
wise.
retire.
Yeah, I think that's really wise. I've talked with a lot of agency owners, and I see the ones who suddenly like double headcount in like 18 months really struggle. It's called the messy middle. I've heard it called that. I actually think what it is just we've grown headcount without growing our operational maturity. So slow growth allows you to like expand your systems as you bring on more people, document training, like be able to hand that off and sort of deepen that support structure. When you just that explosive growth, everyone's still trying to figure stuff out. So I'm with you on the slow growth.
Absolutely. Yeah, and figuring stuff out means that you're gonna lose people that you've vested all this time and
Yeah.
uh and because they're gonna say, "Hey, I can't handle this. Like this is more stressful than really I signed up for."
That's right. Yeah, we talk a lot about stability. So, like again, as an ADHD person, I'm quite happy and comfortable with change and pivoting and jumping around, but not everybody is. We talked in the early years when I made a lot of mistakes. It was in my comfort with change. I would create a lot of instability for the people around me. And it's that instability that creates stress, creates pressure, makes the work that much harder. And so when people are working hard to find stability, they can't actually do the work. So yeah, that stability is particularly when you're trying to grow, I think underestimated because that's how you lose people. I mean, that has a real cost, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So vertical focus is often sort of framed as a marketing move, but it also changes like the emotional and operational load. How has specialization changed the day-to-day reality for you?
Sure. Well, it actually makes it easier, right? So
Yeah.
take pest control, for example. When you learn about a vertical, you learn about bed bugs and termites and all
Yeah.
those creepy crawly things, right?
Yeah.
You know everything about that industry. You know how the operators operate, you know how they sell, you know how the landing pages work. And then it's just customizing it for each client. You take that same process that you've created and now you're duplicating it across clients. So it's actually going to cause you less stress because you know what to expect. You know that in California, they're going to have scorpions versus North Carolina, no scorpions, right? So based on where they're at, you know what to expect and what to focus on and the seasonality of marketing. So you know what to market, when to market. And so that brings a lot of stability. We do work with other verticals or other businesses,
Yeah.
and really you have to learn that business, right, Sean? So it's like you have to learn something all new that you're like, I have no idea about XYZ. And
Yeah.
so now you have to learn it. And there's a lot of onboarding that you have to do yourself just to learn that industry. So
So yeah, I mean, obviously, as you sort of, particularly when you're dealing with like a subject matter that will make your job a lot easier. Obviously that would make the work easier to do. But what new problems show up? Like when you're focused on a vertical, is there a flip side? Are there problems that do come in?
I think we've strategically, I mean, the way we've done it is we've kind of built into this. So it's taken a couple of years to get into a vertical.
Okay.
So I don't think there's too many problems. I think there's just, we're just learning more about each vertical and how to support the customer better. I would say if we jumped into this fast and, onboarded 10 new clients in a new vertical, in a
Yeah.
month or two, then yeah, you're going to have a lot of issues, but
Yeah.
we haven't
In
really seen those.
Now, I've worked with a lot of schools over the years, and they tend to be, they all kind of run like nonprofits, which are their kind of their own special snowflakes. When you're dealing with pest control, is it a lot of mom and pop shops? It's not sort of, are they more often larger businesses?
Yeah, yeah, that's great. We actually call them Chuck in a truck. So you got
Chuck
Chuck
in the
and
truck.
Chuck, and
Okay.
there are a lot of those. And so we've decided that we are going to focus on the smaller pest control companies. But eventually, as an agency, you do have to grow, and you will get more of those enterprise level pest control operators or schools. And so that's
Yeah.
just a progression of the agency. Once you've been able to prove yourself at the smaller companies, that you can grow larger and larger.
There you go.
So I would say taking it small is great, but you can also take a risk and say, hey, let's get that $10,000 a month client,
Yeah.
and go after it. But then that's where you're going to run into those problems that you talk about in your team to say,
Yeah.
hey, we need to provide $10,000 worth of service this month, but we have no idea how to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. So, what the reason why I was curious about the Chuck in the truck or the mom and pop, and like on the nonprofit side, it's like nonprofits are another sort of vertical for us as well on our side, and we have a similar culture of like really wanting to help, really kind of like look out for the best interests of our customers, really help them grow. So, but we've had some conversations the last couple of quarters about putting in some guardrails or some visibility into overhelping. Like we can't actually work for free. And so I imagine with sort of smaller operators who don't know a lot about marketing or might feel in over their heads just focusing on trying to grow their own business with a similar culture, like how do you create guardrails about overhelping and protect against that?
That's a great question. So in the industry, we call that scope creep, right? So we've
Yeah,
got a
that's right.
contract with a customer and we say, hey, we're going to do one, two, three, four, five. And then they come back after we've signed the contract and say, actually, we need help with six, seven, eight, nine, and 10.
Yeah,
And you say, that's great. That's fantastic. You've hired us to do these certain things.
yeah,
We realize that the questions that you're bringing to us are mostly consulting, usually business consulting questions that
yeah.
are going to affect the things that we need to do in our contract.
Hmm.
So a lot of times that turns into now we are your business consultant at no additional charge. And
Yes.
so that's very difficult to ride that, especially with a smaller company who has a very tight budget.
Uh-huh.
So a lot of times we will just step in where we can and say when things are way over our scope, and we'll just say, hey, we can help with these, but we can't help with everything.
Yeah,
So we'll help with the pieces that we need typically. For the bigger companies, what we find is that they don't need any of that. And so it's a lot easier because they say, hey, we've hired you to do marketing, you do your thing, we'll do our thing. And that's a lot easier. But yeah, with the smaller companies, scope creep is it's a real.
yeah, yeah, and it's sometimes it can be hard to tell them no because they need the help so that so we can do the thing that we're actually trying to do. So yeah, it's tough
Yeah.
to know where that line is.
Yeah.
All right. So switching gears, you said you went all in on AI about a year and a half ago. What pushed you to commit versus dabble like other agencies?
Yeah, absolutely. So we decided to use Claude. We did test on a lot. A ChatGPT, Perplexity. This was probably about a year and a half ago.
Uh-huh.
So we were writing a lot of content. So we write almost 300 content pieces a month right now for all of our customers.
That's a
And
lot.
that's blogs and landing pages. And we did have a content writer who had his own company that was built on all the work that we were giving. And the content wasn't very long. And we attended the MACON conference, so the Marketing and AI conference in Cleveland,
Okay.
and determined, hey, this is something that we can really go after. We can get great tools that can produce content that's twice as long, twice or three times as long. There's no spelling mistakes. We can tell it, right? That's a big thing. We can tell it, hey, here are the guardrails to use. Only use these certain links, only use this information from this customer, like really pin it down. And so we determined, hey, this is the direction we want to go. We talked to our content writer who really was not for it. He wanted to keep creative writing creative. And we said, that's great. We want creative writing too, but this isn't creative writing. We just need,
That's right.
right, we need this content for the websites. And so we decided to totally pull the plug on everything we were doing, switch over to AI and just say, hey, we're going to make a go of this. And it's been fantastic. So we use AI for content writing, but it's all human checked. So we read over everything, and then all of that content gets sent to each customer for them to check and make changes before anything's posted.
Cool. So what's your philosophy for AI inside of Cube? Like, what's it for?
Love it.
Particularly when we're producing content?
Everything. And it's
Everything.
not just like content is just the smallest piece that we use it for. I
Yeah,
mean, we write a lot of content with it, but it starts at the very top from sales all the way down to running our budgets. So starting in the sales, we're talking to people over Zoom because, we're all remote. So everybody's Zoom.
that's right.
And it's recorded, and we take that transcript and we put it into Claude, and we have a project for salesperson. So it's called the Cube Creative Salesman, and Chad and I both use it. We insert that transcript, and it creates us an outline of what we need to do for them, what their pain points are, what we're trying to accomplish, and it researches using our SEMrush tool. So we use SEMrush for tracking all of the SEO stuff, that you do on a website.
Yep.
And it pulls all of those tools together into a great report that we can send back to that customer within 5 minutes. And it's given us an outline of who are we targeting, what are our keyword phrases, what's the content that we need to produce. And so we have a plan within a few minutes of how to really work for this customer. So we say, here's the price for this. If you want to do this, let's go. Here's your time frame. And because that project already knows about what we do, what our clients are wanting, what our end goal is, it's made that whole process very, very easy. So we're closing at about 85% right now.
Yeah, that's what you said. I mean, that's an amazing close rate. And I would imagine that comes from, there's probably two parts of it. One, customers getting a ton of knowledge and expertise and value from the very beginning, but that probably has a fair bit to do with you and Chad, or you and or Chad's ability to talk to that information, build that trust and rapport with that customer. So probably the two things together are probably what's really driving that close rate, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So we came into this business saying we want to help people. Okay, we want to make money too, but we're here to help people first and foremost.
Yeah.
So Marcus Sheridan wrote a book called They Ask You Answer. And he, for anybody who hasn't read that book yet, I would definitely go get that book. Read that because what Marcus did was at Riverside Pools, they were not doing so hot. And he decided, hey, I need to figure out how to fix the conversion. Oh,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Keep going though.
And he said, we need to figure out why people aren't converting. We're getting people to the website, but they're not buying anything. And this was right before everything crashed, I believe. What this was in 2008, right before the crash. And they had sold a lot of pools. And then all of a sudden, the next day, things crashed and everybody said, hey, I can't afford $100,000 for a pool. And so they pulled out all of this money. And so the business was hungry, right? So they said, hey, we're just going to try something different. And so they completely revamped their website and they started answering people's questions, right? So, and that's what AI wants today, right? So if you've already been doing that for years, you already are above the game. So by creating really good conversion points, videos that answered questions, he was able to bring people down that conversion funnel to say, hey, I'm ready to sign up, because they know what they're talking about. And so that's what we want to do with our customers. We give them all the pieces that they need right after the discovery call. They don't know how to do it, but now they know that we know what's needed. And then they say, well, yeah, y'all know what's needed. So let's.
Yeah, I think this is one thing I've been talking about with a few people. There's and it's sort of an emerging topic, but it's called it's an MCP. It's a mid-career professional. So it's those of us kind of in our late 40s, early 50s with this technology that's happened, that's suddenly given us a way to like 10x our expertise. It works. Like you can do stuff like this because we know what good looks like. So if that output is garbage, we know because we've done it the long way for a really long time. And so, we were talking about how this puts the younger generation a little bit at a disadvantage. They don't know what good like. I get all kinds of slop from people and I'm like, you didn't even read that. So like, right, you have to be able to discern. So there does need to be a lens of experience and expertise. So we really try to focus on AI as sort of automation and velocity. It's about allowing the human creativity and human thinking to take up more of our time than the other pieces, and being able to work with more faster. It's a tool. Like where inside of your business have you learned like AI is great, but sometimes it needs a human? So like where have you found that balance?
Yeah, you just hinted at it. Your customers are emailing you from AI, right? and their AI is processing what you sent them. And it's like their AI doesn't completely understand what you're doing or what your end goal is. So it's
Yeah.
telling the customer, hey, you need to do XYZ with this agency. And then I come back and say, well, that's not quite the direction I think we should head.
Yeah.
But they come across with, I guess, such confidence to say, hey, my AI told me we need to do this, and this is the direction we need to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's frustrating, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've actually a few like people sort of in my personal life that are just starting to um, leverage AI for things. I'm like, I tell all of them the same thing. Like, listen, it's a sycophant. It will tell you what you think, what it thinks you want to hear. Its job is to please you. So if you frame your requests in a way where it's easy for it to lie or get it wrong because it thinks that's what you want, you're going to get the wrong information or completely bad strategy or whatever it is that you're trying to do. But if you frame it in a way where it's okay, like you want it to correct you or want it to tell you you're wrong, then it becomes a really interesting tool to like ideate and strategize and create new ideas. It's like it's like a virtual whiteboard. That's typically how I kind of use it, like an interactive virtual whiteboard in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I use it like that as well.
Yeah. One of my favorite strategies these days has been just word vomit. So I will just absolutely brain dump a whole bunch of random ideas and thoughts that are just banging around in my head. And then I get it to help me make sense of it. That has been, particularly again, with someone with ADHD and a really racing mind a lot of the time, it's given me a way of really getting crazy out of my head and into some kind of sanity checked framework. So yeah, that's been a game changer for me just at a personal level.
Yeah, that's great. I use a tool called Whisper.
Yeah, somebody just sent me an affiliate code for that just
Oh,
yesterday, actually. Yeah.
cool. And so that's great where you can just whisper to it. You can just talk to it. And it yeah, it makes it easier.
Nice. If you were starting Cube today, knowing what you know now, what would you do the same and what would you refuse to repeat?
I think that I would probably be a little more aggressive, but I think to be able to be more aggressive, you have to have that experience. And so if I was starting today and I didn't know anything about this industry,
Yeah.
then that I would be really hesitant to do that unless you just had a ton of money, right? If you had
Yeah.
a
Oh yeah. Money
cash
makes it
flow is
easier to take risks, doesn't it?
right.
Yeah.
Well, like because when I originally started, I did it right out of college. I didn't have any money,
Yeah, I
so
started it. My start was it was a side hustle, $1,500 websites on Craigslist. That's how I started. It was just me in my basement.
wow, $1,500. That's amazing because my first one was 400, and I think I spent way more than $400 worth of time on that website
Probably.
because I
No, I
wanted it
had a good
perfect.
I had a good systems. All right. And then like what would you protect at all costs if you wanted the agency to be sustainable for another decade?
It's the people. You got to protect your people. Your customer is not always right. Okay. Uh, your employees are the ones that you should always defend to the death.
Yeah.
And if your employees are safe and they know that you trust them and that you will always have their back, that is the most important key in running a business. Take
Yeah.
care of your customers. I mean, take care of your employees and they will take care of your customers.
Yeah. I really align with that. We talk a lot about safety internally. And again, we have like I think 2/3 of our team, I think, are neurodiverse. And so neurodiverse people do have, all of us at some degree or another have a level of trauma. So we just making sure that we understand everything from a safety standpoint. I agree. And like sometimes when a customer's being a pain in the ass or being inappropriate, like they need to see that you'll step into that and protect them, and stand up for them, like advocate for them, make sure that they know they don't have to. That's not a part of their job or a reality or a need of the business for them to push through that type of behavior.
Absolutely. Yeah. Set those guardrails with the customer and let them know that, hey, something's not okay. Just keep it professional. And
Yeah.
usually the customer's going to figure out, oh, you're right.
Yeah. Well, and also being a safe space. So like we had, there was an altercation just a couple of weeks ago. And like the client we're working with is under a ton of pressure. She's working in her own unsafe space. So it's a little bit hard to watch her struggle, but like you can't point it at other people, unfortunately. And so she kind of unloaded on our project manager, who was quite professional about it. But afterwards, it was like 40 minutes. I was just like, let it out, vent, um, just pretend I'm her. And yeah, sometimes just being a space for them to like emote and have that be okay. That's a part of being a leader. Sometimes we don't talk about very often.
Yeah, and Slack's great for that. We've got a random channel, and that's where our memes will fly.
Yeah. My most used meme is the Jerry Maguire, help me help you. That's my favorite meme. I use that all the time. So what do you wish more agency owners gave themselves permission to do before they burn out?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I can't even answer that because I am the worst workaholic, right? My team will tell you, Adam, go on a vacation. We've got this. We can take care of it.
Yeah.
I would say empower your team to do the things that you do. Don't think
Yeah.
that just because you're doing things, just because the way you do things is the only way to do it. It's okay for things to get done a different way. And at the end of the day, if the task gets done and the customer's happy, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I find in my not everyone, but I've noticed that a lot of agency owners. So we do call ourselves workaholics, but I think what we are sometimes is responsibility aholics. You know, we want to master something or solve something before we hand it off to the team because we think that's what being a leader needs to be. And for me, that's always resulted in a lot of overworking and over explaining. And I learned, I think it took me a long time, but like last year, particularly with this transition, like it's okay to give people problems and then let them solve it. I don't have to give them a solution and let them run it. So that was a big learning for me. So that would be like my answer to that question is like, if owners could give themselves permission to not always have everything figured out, I have found that the people that work with you, that work around you, want to contribute that way. They just need the space and agency and permission to do it. And that starts with you letting it go.
Yeah, and that's a good point. With thinking about how to hire somebody, a college degree only says, hey, this person can think outside of the
Hmm.
box and think on
Yeah.
their own. So
Yeah.
going on to what you said, giving somebody a problem and letting them solve it in their own way, it goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm looking for new team members, I have a 15-minute pre-interview call. And that's really me trying to have just a short human discussion just to see who's behind the resume. And what I'm looking for is like, can you think? Like, are you going to be able to self-initiate solving a problem? Are you going to be able to contribute? Or are you the kind of person that's just gonna stay to your lane? Because again, we're not a large agency either. Everyone wears a couple of hats, and with the kind of work that we do, this kind of strategy and collaboration, it's really important that we all work together, and that just requires a certain amount of flexibility and desire to be a part of solutions, even if it sits outside of something you know or don't know. So yeah.
Yeah, and staying positive too. So the whole team knows like, hey, it's okay to vent, but we stay really positive with each other and, take the punches and just move on.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great mentality. All right. Well, that's a wrap for this episode of Beyond the Build. A huge thanks to Adam from Cube Creative Design for an honest look at longevity, focus, and using AI as leverage without losing humans doing the work. Adam, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Sean.
Awesome. If you're running a small team and trying to stay nimble without burning everyone out, I hope this one gave you something real. Thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Stop.